My name is Julia. I have no luck with men, having failed at marriage twice. My second fiance chose a younger, more flirtatious female coworker over me. Soon after, Mr. Thompson, the president, said something surprising. My name is Julia, a 36-year-old working at a small local construction company. I've been working at this company for 18 years since graduating from high school. The company was founded 2 years before I joined. Mr. Thompson studied architecture in college and started a small public office with his father, who was a carpenter. Seeing my dad work was so cool. As a kid, I'd spend all day at the construction sites, just watching him and the other craftsmen work without getting bored. Every time we have a new employee, Mr. Thompson shares this story at the welcome party. I always wanted to be a great carpenter, but I'm afraid of heights. Even being on the second floor makes my legs shake. So, reluctantly, I gave up and studied architecture in college. Many craftsmen are self-employed with no guarantees. I thought, why not create a company and employ everyone? I was young. As someone who's been with the company for a long time, I've heard this story many times, but it still touches me every time. Mr. Thompson loves his craftsmen. It might be a bit unusual, but you could say he has a strong admiration for his father. Normally, you'd expect his father to become the president, but he preferred the field, saying, "That's not for me. I like being on site." And let his son, fresh out of college, take the lead. However, his father, who had worked as a skilled craftsman for many years and was well known, became the sales manager in title. When I joined, the company was smaller, and Mr. Thompson did everything from design to sales to interviewing new employees, while I, fresh out of business high school, took on all the office work. Over time, the number of employees has grown, and now we have 40. Our strength lies in our attentive service that competes with larger construction companies, sticking closely to our community roots. Being one of the oldest employees, I ended up holding the positions of both HR and General Affairs Manager. Although I'm not exactly the type to work aggressively. In my early 20s, I almost got married to someone I met at a matchmaking party a friend invited me to. But as soon as we got engaged, the attitude of the man and his family changed drastically. They became overbearing and treated me as a servant, which scared me, and I called off the engagement. I think it was a bold decision for me, but I'm sure I would have regretted it if I had gone through with the marriage. So I believe my choice was right. I have an older sister and brother, both married with children, so as the third child, I don't get nagged by my parents and enjoy living alone in an apartment near my parents' house. I enjoy my work and, having a bit of trauma about marriage, I sometimes think I might stay single for life. Mr. Thompson once asked me at a company's social, "Julia, are you not going to get married?" Oh. Is it inappropriate to ask about this? It's fine. When I got engaged, I told him that I would quit my job if I got married. That was because my fiance and his family wanted it that way. But since my engagement was called off, I've also explained the situation to him. Well, I haven't decided not to, but what about you, Mr. Thompson? Are you not going to remarry? He got married just after I called off my engagement, in his early 30s, and divorced about 2 years ago. I believe he didn't have any children. Well, I tend to prioritize work, so I guess I'm not cut out to be a family man. This company is like a family to me. It's great for the employees, but it must be hard for a wife. Mr. Thompson, looking dejected, exclaimed, "I thought so," and we ended up having an animated conversation about how complicated marriage can be. My name is Alex. I look forward to working with you starting today. That's how the 30-year-old mid-career hire greeted us at the morning assembly. I conducted his interview, and he came across as a pleasant and promising young man who had been working in sales at a large company in New York. His mother had passed away, leaving his father to live alone, so he moved back to his hometown and changed jobs, worried about his father. I used to work in sales at an electronics manufacturer, so the construction business is new to me, but I'll study hard and do my best. So please teach me. He greeted us like that. First impressions are crucial in sales. His clean, non-threatening demeanor likely contributed to his excellent sales record in his previous job. Since we focus on local community engagement, a lot of our work comes from word of mouth and referrals, but we're weak in acquiring new clients. So we're putting more effort into sales. We have high hopes for you, Alex. I encouraged Alex like this and took care of him in various ways. Being a local himself was an advantage, and customers highly regarded him. Since the main contact for door-to-door sales is usually the housewife, getting a good first impression is quite significant. I was also pleased when he secured his first contract for a new construction project. Great job. Now, we'll leave the rest to our craftsmen. They'll definitely build the house of the client's dreams. To celebrate. Lunch is on me today. What would you like to eat? That's what I said, a bit too excitedly, to which Alex responded. Thank you very much. I'd like to go for drinks rather than lunch. It's my treat. No, I was the one who invited you first, and I can't let a younger man who just joined the company pay. So, let's go Dutch. And somehow, we ended up going out for drinks. Alex is considerate and a good conversationalist, making it enjoyable to drink with him. You've been with the company for a long time, haven't you, Julia? Yes, I guess I'm what you'd call an old-timer. The so-called old lady in the office? As I laughed and said that, he replied, not at all. Julia, you're more like a kind and caring older sister. He said something quite nice that made me happy. You salespeople really know how to make someone feel good with your talk. To that, he surprisingly said, I am actually attracted to women who are more mature than I am. Was he hitting on me? I panicked a bit. Having been away from the dating scene for a while, I couldn't come up with a good response on the spot. Since then, he's been particularly attentive, giving me small gifts that don't require anything in return and don't feel like a burden. Knowing I like cats, he started giving me things like a cat minifigure, a cookie in a cat-themed package, or a cat-themed plastic folder. Each item was only a few dollars, but they brought me a lot of joy. One day, after some time had passed. Would you like to go to a cat adoption event at a nearby home center with me this Sunday? He invited me. Well, cats, right? I'd love to, but my apartment has a no pets policy. My place is owned by our family, so I can have as many as I want. Let's go find a cat we both get along with. As a cat lover, I couldn't refuse. The adoption event had many cats, from kittens to adult cats. All of them were adorable, and I wished I could take them all home. However, the requirements to become a foster parent were quite strict. Living in a pet-friendly residence was a must. But even in pet-friendly places, people who lived alone and were away during the day, as well as the elderly, were not readily welcomed. They required neutering or spaying and vaccinations, and wanted photos of the cat every 3 months to report on their well-being. It seems quite challenging. I was surprised, and a staff member explained there are people who adopt with the intent of abuse. To ensure the cat's happiness, we have to be strict. It was unbelievable. I wonder why anyone would think of mistreating such adorable cats. In the end, Alex owned his home but was a first-time cat owner. Due to the house being empty during the day, the conditions weren't met, so he decided to pass on it this time. What a shame. That brown tabby kitten was so cute. Julia, would you marry me and live with cats? Excuse me? Is it, maybe a bit unfair to lure you with a cat? But please, think it over. The sudden marriage proposal shook me deeply. Of course, it was not that I disliked Alex. And I'm already 36. If I want children, it's almost my last chance. I can't imagine getting married with the same impetus and passion as in my youth, but I might be swayed by a good proposition. Even if it seems calculated. Marrying a successful salesman and becoming a housewife, living with cats. That was a very appealing proposition. I made up my mind and told Alex. If we get married, let's go to an adoption event together and become foster parents. And so, I became engaged to Alex, who is 6 years younger. Since it will likely take some time to hand over my responsibilities after 18 years at the company, I only reported the engagement to Mr. Thompson for now. We're not getting married right away, but we're engaged. I plan to become a housewife once we marry. So I'll ensure a smooth handover so there won't be any issues when I leave. Mr. Thompson was quite surprised and offered a somewhat mixed blessing. Marriage? With Alex? I see, wow, I'm surprised. Well, congratulations. But honestly, losing Julia will be a big loss for us. But congratulations. It wasn't that there had never been office romances before, but in every case, it made things a bit awkward for everyone involved, making it difficult to work. So, Mr. Thompson and I decided to keep it a secret until we handed out invitations to everyone. From then on, I reviewed my work with the assumption that I would be leaving. I made sure that there was nothing only I knew about and began handing over projects where I was the main contact. There shouldn't be any worries since we have capable staff. Thinking about it, I joined this company at 18 and have been here for 18 years. The thought of having spent half my life at this company makes me feel sentimental. Perhaps it's Mr. Thompson's personality or the straightforward nature of the craftsmen here. But the workplace has a good atmosphere and healthy relationships. Of course, it's not without its problems. Currently, the minor issue we're dealing with is a female employee named Samantha. She joined about a year ago through nepotism, being the niece of one of our senior craftsmen. She's the only daughter of the family who went to college in New York with a promise to return home after graduation. She came back all right but ended up loafing around without a job, so her distressed parent turned to our senior craftsman. At first, I thought she was a bright and pretty woman, but she turned out to be quite problematic. We placed her in accounting, but she lacks motivation. She can do what she's told, but she doesn't take initiative. The biggest issue is her condescending attitude towards employees with lower education, especially the craftsmen, whom she looks down upon. However, she's good at putting on a facade, or rather, she's good at acting sweet depending on who she's talking to. In front of male employees, she's the bright and pretty woman everyone likes. This attitude extends even to the craftsmen she secretly looked down on. The men, unaware that they are being mocked behind their backs, say things like, Samantha, the new girl, is sweet and nice. The ones who suffer the most are probably the female employees who only graduated high school. Samantha brags about her degree from a college in New York and looks down on us who only graduated from local high schools. She's so rude when we try to teach her work. She says terrible things about the craftsmen behind their backs, calling them brainless, low-class, and dirty. It's natural for work clothes to get dirty when you're working on site, right? Because the male employees praise her so much, I once told them she acts differently towards women. But they even told me not to be jealous of such a young and pretty girl. It was so frustrating. Hearing this from the female employees was troubling. She hadn't shown that side to me until one day. So, Julia, I heard you didn't go to college. And yet, working here for nearly 20 years can still get you the important position, she said. I'm not that important, but Samantha, there are some issues with your work attitude. Please stop looking down on the craftsmen with your words and actions. I was clear in my warning, but she replied, oh? Did it seem that way? I'm just honest, you know, showing no concern at all. That's not what you call honesty. It's problematic both professionally and personally. But Julia, you are messing with younger male employees here, right? Isn't that a problem? Excuse me? Everyone here is so laid back that they haven't noticed, but it was obvious to me. You and Alex are involved. This took me by surprise. She must have a good instinct or sense for these things. Look, we haven't made it public, but we're engaged. Once I've properly handed over my work, we plan to get married. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. Oh, really? Alex is the best catch in this company, after all. A college grad and handsome. Maybe I should take him for myself. I was speechless at her audacity. What are you even doing here? Stop spouting nonsense and actually do your work. With that, I ended the conversation. Feeling utterly frustrated, I ended up venting to Alex. She's a troublesome kid. I'll talk to her too. I'll also address the work and the craftsman issue. Alex assured me, and I trusted his words. So, when I saw them whispering together in the meeting room, I thought he was taking care of it. And when Alex said I was going to consult with Samantha after work, I even felt reassured. Days of slight miscommunications with Alex continued, but I never imagined he was avoiding me on purpose. After about a month, when Samantha and I accidentally made eye contact and she looked at me with a triumphant smile, I realized, well, she got me. Alex apologized profoundly. Sorry. I got carried away. It wasn't serious. Please believe me. The thought of him with Samantha, of all people, and her smug smile, wouldn't leave my mind, infuriating me. Give me some time to think. Should I forgive him, believing it was just this once, and proceed with the marriage? Or should I decisively break up with a man who cheated with a coworker despite being engaged? While I was more inclined not to forgive him emotionally, giving up on the marriage I had once dreamt of was also hard. It happened when I was delivering documents to Mr. Thompson, who was drafting plans in the design room. Julia, you've seemed a bit down these last few days. Is something wrong? If you're okay with it, I'm here to listen. When he kindly said that, and seeing that there were no other employees around, I was suddenly overwhelmed and found myself crying. Much to my own surprise. I confided everything to him. I guess I just needed someone to hear me out. Matters of the romance are not something others should meddle in. But honestly, from my perspective, while I'd appreciate it if you stayed with the company instead of getting married, what's most important is your happiness, Julia. I hope you make the choice that will make you the happiest. Remember, I'm on your side, he expressed. Yes, I'll give it some more thought. Thank you, I said. After expressing my gratitude to him, I left the room. As time passed without a clear decision from me, about a month after Alex's affair came to light, an incident occurred during one morning assembly. At the end of the morning assembly, Samantha, who was standing next to Alex, took his arm and announced. To everyone here, I have an announcement. I'm getting married to him. This news made everyone present express their surprise aloud. What? The office was abuzz with surprise. While most were simply astonished, it was natural that there were also several female employees who were visibly upset, thinking, what? What is this? This has to be a joke. Of course, I was shocked too, but part of me felt like someone had made the decision I had been struggling with for me. Amidst the murmuring, Alex quietly came up to me and whispered. I'm sorry, the affair turned serious. Well, that's good for you, I said. I was striving to keep my cool. I was genuinely relieved we hadn't announced our engagement. Thinking that lashing out at them or blaming them would only make me feel more miserable, so I bit my lip. It was right after the commotion had started to settle that Mr. Thompson uttered some astonishing words. All right, you two are fired. What? Alex and Samantha looked at him in surprise. In fact, everyone present turned to stare at him in astonishment. Mr. Thompson, please stop with the funny jokes. Alex protested in a half-joking tone. I'm not joking. Both of you are fired, Mr. Thompson reiterated firmly. How can you say something so unilateral? That's just not acceptable. That's absurd. Getting fired just for getting married is ridiculous. Samantha seemed to think the issue was about company marriages. Yes, marriage is something to celebrate. Normally, I'd be the first to congratulate you. But you see, even if it's a small amount. Misuse of company funds is embezzlement, isn't it? Why should the company pay for your dates? What? So, Alex from sales and Samantha from accounting had been quietly using company expenses for their dates? The senior head of accounting turned pale and apologized for the oversight. Well, you wouldn't expect to find such misconduct among our employees. We'll have to be more cautious moving forward. And that's not the only reason. Mr. Thompson sighed in a troubled manner before speaking. Listen, Alex. Our company does not engage in unsavory business practices. You know what I'm referring to, right? What? No, that was not mine, but her idea. She made the first move and it only happened once. Who said you should go that far to secure a contract? The client has agreed not to make it an issue this time. But such actions could harm our company's reputation. How could this be? He went to such lengths just to secure a contract. No way. You're kidding, right? Samantha was also shocked, staring at Alex. And Samantha, your work attitude is appalling. I respect our craftsmen, and this company thrives on their skills. We don't need employees who look down on them." The office fell silent for a moment. Then, gradually, applause began, growing louder and louder. Female employees, who had been stressed out by Samantha's attitude, were visibly relieved, praising Mr. Thompson for speaking up. "It was you, wasn't it? You're getting back at me for stealing your fiancé by telling Mr. Thompson all sorts of things." Samantha yelled at me. "It seems I won't come out of this unscathed either." The office buzzed again. "I didn't do such a thing. Sure, Alex and I were engaged, and we kept it under wraps. Planning to announce it after the handover of my duties was complete. It's unfortunate how things turned out. But personal matters and work are separate," I clarified. As I said this, voices from the female staff rose in support. "Julia wouldn't do such a thing. We were the ones who went to Mr. Thompson. That's when it happened." Samantha's uncle, a craftsman who had helped her get the job through connections, stepped forward. "I'm terribly sorry for all this. She got involved with a married professor in New York, caused some trouble, and was sent back home. She was loafing around without working, so I was asked by my brother to get her a job here. I'm truly sorry." He apologized deeply, seemingly unaware that he was revealing more than necessary. The two, their unsavory pasts exposed in front of all the employees, left the room with faces turning red and pale, fleeing the scene. An uncomfortable silence hung over the remaining employees. "After everyone gets back to work, but it looks like work might be the last thing on anyone's mind right now, so let's take a 1-hour break." Dismissed. With Mr. Thompson's command, everyone dispersed, forming groups here and there to chat. "Julia, could you come to my office for a bit? I need to talk to you." Mr. Thompson called out, providing me with some relief. The employees seemed eager to hear more from me. As soon as I entered his office, he apologized. "I'm sorry for how things turned out. I intended to keep your situation private. It's not your fault, Mr. Thompson. It seems I just don't have good judgment when it comes to men. To think my engagements would fail twice. Well, maybe it's for the best. A man who can't stay faithful, even if he's competent at work, is no good. Indeed, looking at it another way, I might have narrowly avoided misfortune. And, well, it might seem odd to say this now, but..." He hesitated, unusually for him. "Would you consider me as a potential partner for marriage?" "What?" It's understandable to be surprised, but hear me out. 20 years ago, you joined the company I had just started 2 years before. I fell for you at first sight. But I thought it was inappropriate to pursue anything with a new employee, so I gave up and even had a girlfriend. Then you said you got engaged. He mentioned he decided to marry his girlfriend at that time. But I ended up breaking off the engagement. I regretted not waiting a bit longer. I thought I loved my wife in my own way, but maybe she too had a faint feeling something was off. She left me for another man. But I couldn't blame her. I remember being invited to his wedding shortly after I told him about my first engagement and my intention to leave the company after getting married. After my divorce, I was down for a while. But just when I thought I could propose to you, you announced your engagement to Alex. Oh well. You did nothing wrong. I even thought about blessing your union. But knowing he was no good, I wondered how I could break you two up. So I know it's wrong to say this now, but if I don't say it now and miss this chance again, I might never get another. Take your time to think it over, there's no rush. Of course, I liked him. But I had never seen him as a romantic prospect. As I left his office, a thought struck me, and I asked him. Do you like cats, Mr. Thompson? What? Yes, I love them. I love both cats and dogs. Back at my desk, my emotions were like a roller coaster from the morning's events, and I found it hard to concentrate on work. Moreover, the other employees seemed to be watching me with concern, which made me feel uncomfortable. Pretending to look over documents, I thought about Mr. Thompson. 18 years since joining the company, he had always been kind and considerate toward me. I had been observing him all this time, his care for the employees, his love for the craftsmen, his fear of heights, and his occasional clumsiness. As I thought about it, I could feel my cheeks warming up. Mr. Thompson? He likes me all this time and wants to marry me? The thought made my heart race uncontrollably. I stood up impulsively and headed for his office. Bursting through the door, I nearly shouted, "Mr. Thompson, I've made up my mind. Please make me a part of your real family." "Really? Are you sure?" "Yes. If I hesitate, who knows what might happen next." "Thank you. I never want to miss another chance with you." With those words, he hugged me. This is how we decided to get married. And then, we announced it to the employees. Naturally, everyone was surprised, but afterwards, we received many congratulations. That day turned into quite the commotion and not much work was done, but Mr. Thompson couldn't really complain. As for the two who were fired, according to Samantha's uncle, the veteran craftsman, they did get married. However, Alex's next job didn't go well, and he seems to be working in a much lower ranking and dubious door-to-door sales role. After getting married, it turned out Alex's father had started showing signs of dementia, and Samantha, who was left with the caregiving duties, felt deceived and complained about it. However, her parents, ashamed of a daughter who caused trouble in university and then embezzled at her job leading to her firing, have reportedly said they wouldn't let her back into the house even if she divorced and returned. I wondered if Alex's rush to get close to me was to have someone to take care of his father. I moved into Mr. Thompson's house, and since I've known both my father-in-law and mother-in-law for 18 years, it felt like we've been family from the start. It was as if we were a family right from the beginning. Right after getting married, Mr. Thompson and I went to an adoption event and took in 2 sibling cats. Currently, under my enthusiastic father-in-law's direction, we're building a childcare facility on the company premises. With a childcare facility, we can actively recruit female craftsmen, and Juliet can work while raising children, right? Mr. Thompson said. Even after marriage, I still catch myself calling him Mr. Thompson, but by next spring, we might be calling each other by our first names. Life can change dramatically based on timing and choices. Both of us took detours, but we probably won't regret this decision.